My name is Rhapsody and welcome back to Curse of the Dead Gods. Curse of the Dead Gods has finally gone into its 1.0 release. Curse of the Dead Gods, in case you're not familiar, is an action-adventure game. I have played it before. I'm kind of saving on this screen for a moment here to kind of show my bona fides. I've done 44% of global progression on slot 1 and then 38 on the second slot, although largely that is due to the fact they added more levels of global progression after I'd completed my time with the game. After the third temple came out, I knew that the 1.0 release was coming around the corner, so I decided to stop that series for just the moment so that I could start on a completely blank save file for the 1.0 release. There are a lot of metagame progression things that were released in between my last time with the game or rather my most recent kind of like larger stint with the game and now. So starting from an empty slot shouldn't really feel too bad or too different or like we've lost too much progress. And also, I will be able to use this as a way to kind of bridge towards people who haven't seen Curse of the Dead Gods before and are now interested in it as a result of it having come out in a 1.0 release. So let's enter that temple. I believe this will mean that we will have some tutorialization going on in the first episode. I will get through that relatively quickly, but I will make sure to take the time to correctly contextualize the rest of the series. So I will be at least a little rusty at the game, although I do suspect to win quite a lot to begin with. The plan for those of you who are a channel regular, the plan for this is to be one of the daily series that is going to be running alongside Slay the Spire for the moment at least. It's going to be a pretty active month. There are a lot of games either coming out right now or up until late March. Just a whole mess of games. May have to figure out a different rotation schedule rather than just turning them all to daily, but that is going to be a conversation that we have at that time. You can see in the bottom left of the screen the weapons with which we are currently equipped. I'm going to use the torch in order to light that lamp there. We'll see the effects of light as we go further on in. I'm not going to try and preempt the game in explaining those. Because it will try and explain them at relevant times with a scenario that will demonstrate them effectively. I'll also be quite at least aware of a lot of secrets in this game, but there are definitely going to be secret or niche things that I'm not familiar with. If you are familiar with them, I don't consider myself worried about spoilers in this game. I feel like I've explored enough in this game that I'm fine with that. So if you are a Curse of the Dead Gods pro and you happen to have a tip or two over the course of this, they would be much appreciated. The history of this series is back when I played it for the first time, it was sponsored actually for 3 episodes, and then I ended up recording like 50 just because I really liked the game. So, they really got their money worth on that one. Light and darkness. Light reveals hidden traps. Standing in darkness increases all damage you take by 50%. Watch out for the indicator at the bottom of the screen to know if you're in light or darkness. That's one of the reasons you would try and light a thing. Torch. Use the torch action to equip and attack with your torch. The torch action, obviously, I've got a controller here, so it's going to be saying torch action rather than X or anything like that. But you'll be able to approximate it to your own controller, whether or not that's a keyboard. Use the torch action. I wouldn't necessarily recommend a keyboard myself. You know, different strokes for different folks. Torch can spread fire to braziers or enemies, as also elements on fire spread light around. So we will light the braziers in this room. Dodge and stamina. Using the dodge action, you can see I've been doing this the entire time. It'll quickly roll to evade enemy attacks or traps. It uses a stamina point. The stamina points are visible at the feet of your character. I really like that they're there. It's like a salient part of the screen. You've always got your eyes there. So you really don't have to look anywhere else to try and see how much stamina you have left. And it's good. It's manageable. It's well designed for a user experience. Once stamina is depleted, you cannot dodge anymore. Stop attacking or dodging for a short time to replenish your stamina. So just gonna kind of farm out these rolls here. You can see the mission in the top left is trying to give us the tutorialization of it. Basic combat. Use attack actions to equip and attack with your weapons. Chain multiple main attacks to trigger a powerful finisher. Use secondary attack to shoot with your main weapon. Finishes and range attacks require 1 stamina. So I'll equip my first weapon with the same button we end up using to attack with it. I'll do the same to shoot. There's also a perfect timing on the shot. If you hit if you release the shot at exactly the right time, failed there, succeeded there, you'll deal more damage. I believe it's 50% more damage by base. All enemies defeated. Chain main attacks until you trigger a finisher. All right, yes. So this would be just continue using the same weapon until it has a combo complete. Advanced combat, hold main attack for a while to release a charge attack, requires a stamina point. There's also the perfect shot, I just mentioned it myself. Chain a secondary attack after a series of main attacks to trigger an offhand combo. So the offhand combos is probably the one I underutilize the most. And that would be 1, 2, 3, and then there we go. So that kind of like shotgun blast that the pistol just did, instead of doing the finisher with the sword, that is an offhand combo. I keep failing doing them. Hang on. 1, 2, 3. Boom. There we go. That's an offhand combo. I really don't utilize that much at all. I'll tell you immediately, that's not really part of my playstyle. Hold main attack and release to do a charged attack. Simple. And then it wants me to do some perfect shots. Okay. 1, 2. Got him. Finish up this room, and then I think they'll probably take us into the next one, right? Use a dodge action to evade enemy attacks. If you successfully evade an enemy attack with a perfect dodge, you'll restore a stamina point. Use the parry action at the very last moment to counter enemy attacks. A successful parry weakens the enemy. It'll take more damage for a short period of time. And it also restores 2 stamina points. So it's a very, very effective action if you can take it. So I'm going to try and do it here. Failed on that. There we go. So you can see the vulnerability kind of around them at the time you've managed to hit a parry. So we'll do that, and then gotta wait for enemies to come back up so I can do some perfect dodging. That's a perfect dodge. You can see the little aura around myself is indicating that we've done a perfect dodge there and are restoring stamina as a result. For those of you who are more familiar with the mechanics of the game, do not worry. There we go. The tutorial is going to end soon, is what I was going to say. End of training. Continue to the end of the room if you want to start your journey through the temple. If you want more practice time, no thank you. I am all good with that. Ooh, gives you a little bit of a starter bonus of crystal skulls here. Crystal skulls are powerful artifacts you collect from fallen enemies. They are bound to your character and persist after death. Between each exploration, you can trade them in the Underworld for an exchange of permanent upgrades. That is your meta growth, meta currency statistic. This is another one. Jade rings, same. After each exploration, you can trade them in. They're not awarded from enemies, though. They're awarded from new things being completed, I believe. Map. Each temple is an assembly of rooms linked together. They represent the main room ward by a symbol on themselves. When you complete a room, you can choose your path and progress through the temple. Use the map action to have a look at them. So I am initially going to want to get a lot of money and then stats, and I'm kind of just hoping that I'll pick up a weapon along the way. If I have to use my base weapon the entire time, I'm not going to be thrilled about it, but I'll do it. And it takes them a while, obviously, because, you know, the tutorial itself didn't necessarily require teaching this, but this is a core fundamental mechanic of the game, corruption. Watch out for your corruption gauge at the bottom right of your screen. Each door you go through will increase your corruption by 20 at the moment. For each full gauge, you become corrupted, and crossing the next door will curse you. You can get 4 curses. It's going to explain that, isn't it? You can get 4 curses, and then the 5th curse is a really bad one. It just constantly deals damage to you. It won't kill you. It will leave you on 1 HP, but it will constantly deal damage to you. So you really want to avoid that one if you have, if you're able to. Greed kills. After defeating an enemy, a greed kill timer starts. Chain kills in order to increase your greed kill count, and therefore the amount of gold released by enemies. When hitting enemies, perfect dodges, and parries all refill the timer, so you don't have to be aggressive the entire time. You can be defensive and still run it. And the series reset if timer drops off or if you take damage. Here's our first relic. Heal 3% of max health when an enemy is killed by the environment. I'm going to offer this to the gods, which is kind of like a recycling option there. Gives you the ability to refuse to pick it up for the sake of a little bit of money. You know, it's like skipping, for instance. So my goal is very much going to be capitalizing on greed kills. Unfortunately, at the moment, I don't have the meta bonus, the meta bonus, rather. I'll also offer the Jaguar Claw to the gods. 15 plus damage on fire attack. Well, actually, that informs the kind of weapon I would want to take, so I will take it. Use the inventory action to consult your current item and gear. You can see the codex and system through this as well. Cool. So let's do that, just to show here are my slots for relics. I have 6 of them. There's 4 slots for curses, and then the final curse is the one that I explained before. We also have a 2-handed weapon slot that is not currently filled, a main hand, an offhand, and then the torch. I've never seen the torch change. I don't know if with the 1.0 release they have some other mechanic like that. Plus 15% damage against weakened enemies, or I can restore 4% max HP. Well, I've taken no damage, so there's no reason to throw that one away. Just 1 second here. I'm going to quickly change headphones back to my old pair, because the new pair is doing a little bit of squealing. Just squealing in my ear the entire time, and I know that's going to frustrate me. And whoop. Sorry about that bad oral experience you may have just had with the buzz that was going on there. All right, we're all good. All the headphones equipped, and we're back in. Beautiful. Sorry about that brief interruption there. So yeah, I'm going to be focusing on trying to keep up my greed kill mechanic, because honestly, like, your corruption in this game is a currency. In fact, we will see that as soon as we get to a shop, so I'm not going to explain it personally. The question marks on the map are random. They could be anything. It's not like those specifically can be events or some such, you know. Just in case you're thinking of an analog to another game that has a map system similarly node-based, similarly single symbols on the map that give you an idea of the kind of thing which they may contain. Oh, I don't know if people on this channel might be familiar with a symbol or a system like that for some reason. I don't know. Using some environmental kills here so that I don't have to focus on using my stamina the entire time. Here's a 2-handed weapon. Primal Hammer. Charged attacks weaken enemies. 2-handed weapons are big and slow. So, yep. Leap through the air like that, and then we can see slow, but there's a finisher as well. Only takes 2 to get to that finisher on this weapon. No. As soon as I get my first kill here, I'm going to want to combo the rest down. So that's why I'm not quickly landing any of those kills there at the start. I wanted to guarantee that I could kill the rest of them so that I could get the green timer as large as I possibly could. Plus 20% base damage for claws. I like that, and I also really like claws as a weapon. I'm going to talk a little about my playstyle in this game. I really like doing some tricky things, like swapping back and forth between 2 different weapon sets. We'll see later some things that are permanent bonuses, that is to say traits that you can take in. So you can see under my character over on the left there, there's 1 open slot and then 2 locked slots. Those would be the ability to bring in traits. And that's just like, you know, different run modifications that you've decided on and taken in. So like one of them might be successful parries, disarm enemies in an area of effect, right? And then obviously if you're going to do that, you're going to try and focus on parrying for that run, that kind of thing. Slaver's Mace. Finishers deal critical damage. It's better than the machete, I'll take it. So one of those traits is, or actually it got changed recently. One of those traits used to be if you slay an enemy with a different stance to the one you just slayed the previous with, so that is to say if you're alternating between weapons on kills, you get 2 greed kills for each. And then there was another one, Reptilian Hunger, which said greed kills do not deplete in between rooms. So you could just run along and end up with a greed kill counter of like 50, 60. Obviously, depending on your play, but still, real good. There we go. Only just managed to keep that greed kill counter alive. What I really don't want to do is put myself in a position where in order to keep the greed kill counter alive, I have to use the shot, because that's so slow. Even if you just, like, shot fire it, it's really not quick. That is to say, the ranged attacks of the basic pistol here. So, yeah, sorry, I was using all of that as a setup to talk about my playstyle. I'll talk about it for just a second, and I'll get back to the offerings. My playstyle is, I like capitalizing on tricky things, you know, jumping back and forth between those styles, kind of maximizing on greed kills, trying to use that as a way to fund all of my purchases throughout the mission. But also, I really, really like fast weaponry. I struggle, I think it would be fair to say, to use slow weaponry as my main. So claws are quite quick. That's what started us on this entire tangent. Now, offerings. When you interact with a weapon, relic, or attributes altar, you can make an offering to the gods to claim one of the 3 presented boons. Make a gold offering to spend gold for it, or a blood offering to get it for free at the cost of corruption. So when I was talking about corruption being a resource, I literally mean it's a resource or a currency in this game. Obviously, you don't want to buy so many things with corruption that you get the final curse, but I don't know, maybe you do. Maybe you're having a wild cursed run. Here, I'm just going to offer the gold in order to take Tumok and Yachts. So we can see Tumok is just plus 250 max health. We can see Yachts is plus 10% damage. But if I want to get both, so it costs more than their combined number, but I have the opportunity to get both at the same time, right? So that is covering the cost. Plus 250 and plus 10% max health. Cool, I'll be taking that. So we'll offer the gold for the Tumok and Yachts there. Sishal is the 3rd, that's the serpent, and that will give us dexterity. You can see down below my HP, above my HP, to the right and above my HP in the bottom left of the screen, you can see my stats. You can see I got 5 strength and 5 dex from that. 5 strength is 1 point of strength is 50 max HP. 1 point of dex is 2% extra damage, right? So 250 and 10%. They changed significantly how perception works. Perception? Sorry, Dex is green in a different game I play. Dex is the blue, and then perception is green. It now, I believe it increases your gold find chance. Not your gold, sorry. It increases your gold find as well as... Sorry, I'm just going to take care of business here so that I don't mess up any of the greed kills, because we could actually get like a pretty stack here. Just constantly fighting enemies while looking down in the other side of the screen to try and make sure that I'm not about to have to defend against a ranged attack incoming. Yeah, so there's a 10 counter, the highest we've had so far. Yeah, it's the highest we could have gotten. All right. Slaver's Mace. Finishes deal critical damage. That's the same mace as we currently have. However, it's a level higher. Oh, wait a second. Wait a second. Is this an upgrade shrine? Yeah, this is an upgrade shrine. I thought this was going to be a weapon shrine where I could purchase a new weapon, but these are just different upgrades on my base weapons. So plus 30% damage against burning enemies. But it's also worth noting, it's increasing the level of the weapon as well. You can see the little 2 that is heavily illuminated there over the 1 on the right-hand side. It's increasing the level of the weapon, which just does increase its base damage as well as its scaling. So, good. Very good. I'll take one even if I don't want the secondary effect that is provided. Or I could take one even if I didn't want the secondary effect that's provided, but I actually don't want any of these. They're not really going to change the way that I play at all. And I would prefer to upgrade a different weapon. Yeah, you can see there's another upgrade offered on the left there. Maybe I should have pathed myself along a weapon shop, although I don't know if I even saw any weapon shops there. Sorry, I skipped I'm muscle memory, just skipping that animation. I won't skip the next one. Trap chests. The only blow that cannot be parried is the dagger you thrust into yourself. Greed is the most ferocious of all enemies. Chests are sealed and trigger an attack that must be parried in order to unlock them, but they drop an additional gear item. Some of the curses are both positive and negative at the same time. Cursed, you can see. Each time you fill your corruption gauge, you're cursed. Curses add modifiers to the classic game rules that last until the end of the run. Beware the 5th and final curse, for it will strongly jeopardize your chance of success. After you defeat a boss, you remove... Do you remove a curse or do you remove corrupt? Oh. Oh. I thought I was going to be able to preempt that and give the extra information, but no. No. Something's missing there. I just found 404 information not found in my head. Okay, we'll go for the perfect rolls here to try and keep my combo bonus alive. Whew. Okay, I should have been able to handle that better than that. Eagle Talon, 15% to lightning attacks. No, thank you. Although it's not like I'm going to be utilizing all of this money, right? So, here's something. Man, that wall looks cracked, and wow, it looks like there's something behind it. If only we could get through the wall in some way. Oh, I wonder if this jaguar thing that fires a fireball will get through the wall for us. Almost certainly. Oh no, I accidentally destroyed it. So I'm gonna try and demonstrate two things. Number one, yes, that jaguar fireball would have done that, but also, any weapon with the heavy type will do it too. And usually they just open up an area where you might find an extra item. You might find just a bit of gold. They're not hugely impactful, but on aggregate, those secrets become quite impactful. Oh, I just wanted to swap variety there. And immediately almost ate bullet. Nice. All right, we're doing good. This is another altar for stats. Attributes. Each point of Constitution increases your maximum health. Dex increases your weapon's base damage. Perception increases gold income. And thank you. This is something I was actually trying to get back to as well. And the chance that enemies drop gear objects when defeated. So those are things that you can equip. I'll take that. Thank you. Yarts and Sashal there. Okay. So Healing Shrine would give me the ability to heal up at the cost of taking corruption per heal that I take, but you could just heal back up to full. You could also corrupt yourself all the way to the final curse if you prefer. I don't know. I'm not your mouth boss. Do whatever you want. Play it in your way. I'll actually use this room to make a point as well. If I didn't have a heavy weapon here, I am also giving up a bonus in order to do this. But if I didn't have a webby weapon here, then I could get the enemy in order to... I could get the enemy to break these down for me in order to be able to loot them. Come on. They have reasonable tracking though, so you would have to like roll pretty close to the end of it, though I'm quite experienced at doing that with these enemies in particular. Having no huge affinity for specifically heavy weapons. There are two-handed weapons that aren't heavy, like a bow. Bow's a two-handed weapon that's not heavy. Sure, it's a ranged weapon, but your offhand weapons aren't necessarily ranged. They're just your offhand weapon, right? It's fine for it to be a pistol in this case, but obviously a bow is not necessarily an offhand weapon. I don't know, maybe a hand crossbow, but it's a crossbow. Thank you! Golden Hourglass is actually one of my favorite relics in this entire game. Plus 200% to your greed kill time limit. Gives you the ability to be more of a positional player when you are trying to deal with waves of enemies. Let's just light that one up. So I can try and keep tabs on y'all who are further away from me. Beautiful. So here you can see that I actually can't afford these. As you go further on, things cost more. Although I think this is literally just, I have purchased each of these stats a lot, and increasing stats that are already high costs more. You can see here that it costs me 250 more to get Yarts' gift because I already have 10 decks than it does Tamox, which I only have 5 of. However, you know what cost doesn't increase? That's right, the blood, baby. So if you can, buy the early things with money and then the late things with blood. if you can. So here's an upgrade, and then after it, a weapon shrine. I'm just going to go for the gold, and then I'm going to go to the weapon. It's possible we just pick up just, you know, straight gold, the weapon. Although, regardless of what I do at this point, because I'm only 20... Well, not regardless. But it looks like, at the moment, if I were to try and go into the next area... Oh, hang on. I'm going to have to focus for a second here. I was trying to focus because I may want to parry this. Thank you. I'm not actually great at the parry timing for that. I used to be. Great. It's a bit boastful. I used to be pretty good at it. Quite reasonable. More comfortable with it. How about that? I forgot I have to parry these. Barbed whip. Charged attacks weaken enemies. So, let me quickly go back to the thing that I was trying to say before. I've just got a lot to say in the first episode as I'm trying to tutorialize a little bit of this for people. Again, I do apologize for those of you more familiar with the game. It'll take like an episode of doing this, and then we're back into the normal pace of things. All right. As I was trying to say, it looks like as I go into the next room, I'm going to be taking 20 corruption, and as a result, I'm going to get my next level of curse. However, if I were to offer this to the gods to remove 4 corruption, I would go down to 76 and then 96, rather than going to 100 as I enter the next area. However, I do want the whip, so I'm just going to take that. Thank you. And then there's a Snake Fang, plus 15% damage to poison attacks. We still don't have any poison, although you can see offering this to the gods now gives us 62 gold, right? 12 more gold than it would have previously. And I believe that is a result of our perception increase there. I'll take it, because I might get a poison weapon in the next room. A lot of the times in the early game, when there is a wall that's breakable, they also give you an enemy who can break it. That large man, the one that I had to parry, he totally would have broken that for me. Let's actually quickly take a second to go to the bestiary so that I can kind of use the game's nomenclature for these things. We have the lurkers up first. No information about them until I kill enough. Death Wives are the area of effect ones. I should also mention, the Death Wives attacks give corruption if they hit you. It's just, we haven't experienced that yet. There's also Dead Eyes. Those are the floating orbs in the middle of the screen, what with the beams and all. Headless Guardian is the thing that I just fought, the big guy. And then Blood Priest was the one in the weapon upgrade room that was just standing in amongst the rest of the enemies. Didn't necessarily note it at the time. All right. Keep on keeping on, Raps. Whoop. Hup. Love opening a fight like that, especially with this weapon, because as you... Whew, good roll right there, keeping the timer. Actually, I think it was literally just the relic had kept the timer there. But you can see this weapon, with its charged attack, does just like an incredible jump. Very much a Reinhardt slam kind of situation. But it also weakens enemies, as you can see on it. Charged attacks weaken enemies. So, super neat if you can get it. Slaver's Mace. This one is not upgraded. That is to say, it's not level 2. However, it does have a modifier on it, plus 20% base damage if the secondary weapon is a dagger. And it's possible I picked that up, so sure. Also, the only bonus... I forgot about... I'm gonna have to parry these. Got him. Oh, Chimeric Pendant. Plus 1 to each stat. Take it. And then plus 15% damage in darkness. Yeah, that's what we're looking for. Oh, that's what we're looking for. Yes, that's only plus 15%, but yes, it also means for the rest of the run I'm going to be trying to do in darkness. Don't worry, don't worry. The game will slap me for my cockiness relatively soon. It's okay. This is the curse I dislike probably the most. Cadaverous Infestation. Some enemies lie dormant, hidden within hosts, waiting for a moment to strike at yet another unwary prey. Regular enemies can drop additional creatures when killed. They're not hard to kill, the additional creatures. It's just, they're a hassle. And if you stop paying attention for just a moment too long, they're a lethal hassle. Well, not lethal. Okay, so the big problem is they kill your greed kill counter, but as far as I'm concerned, I would prefer to die than lose my greed kill counter most of the time, so to me, it is a death. Here's another Blood Priest. It would be summoning, resurrecting, and... Hup! Nice try. It would be summoning, resurrecting, and healing enemies were it not too busy at the moment being dead. It's also worth noting, all of these enemies will just flee from the light. That is the cadaverous infestation enemies. So if I was in light, I would be fine. It's just, I also want that plus 15% damage, thank you. Okay, actually, let's go left to right. So you can see there's increasing levels of kind of rarity and cost across the left to the right in each of the stores. Even in the statistics store, right? It's the 2 stats at the start, and then it's the double stat, which is the most expensive and rare at the end. King Bow. It's a 2-handed weapon. It is fully charged shots inflict 50% more damage per character hit. Interesting. So, obviously meant to penetrate a bunch of characters. And plus 1% base damage per point of dex. It's worth noting, all weapons get plus 2% base damage per point of dex by base. That's just what dex do. And then on top of that, this would get an extra plus 1%. Sky Hammer, 2-handed weapon heavy. Lightning attacks, however, it also has 30% extra damage against elite champions and bosses, as well as restores 1% of maximum health for each enemy killed. That is a good anti-attrition weapon, as I would call it there. And then finally, the Primal Hammer. Same hammer we currently have, but it is a level up. Plus 1% base damage per point of perception, as well as 20% chance to inflict poison damage. And attacks from behind are 30% more damage. Honestly, if this was not a heavy weapon, I would take the Sky Hammer, but I'm going to take the Keen Bow. I've got 16 points of dex. I like having a ranged weapon that is worth a damn. That pistol is not... Well, actually, I already got rid of the pistol for the whip. Forgot about that. I should have used the whip a little. Let's go into the champion. I'm just going to take a sip of water first. Perfect. Make sure we've got lubricated vocal cords for this one. Ooh, I thought they were missing some kind of taunt screen back when I played through the first time. Oh, these are going to summon the cadaverous infestation things. Oh, that's so annoying. Hoppa. Hoppa. Try again? No? Okay. So I'm going to take this fight slow at the very start. He's got a pattern. He's going to be doing a spear throw, and then another attack. Whether or not that's more spear throws or whether or not it's that ground pound attack. All of the attacks that have that kind of purple aura around them that you just saw, those give you corruption if you get hit by them. I really like that this weapon does enough damage to actually get the Panther down as soon as it gets summoned. Gives us a lot more time to wail on the enemy here. Oh, it's not going to do it if I miss a shot. I just want to try and get those cadaverous infestation enemies off the field so I don't have to worry about them at all. I would like to fight exactly one enemy at a time, thank you, game. Okay. Hop, hop. No. Yeah, that's where you get in a problem, right? There was an enemy further away looking to pounce. There was one up close. There was someone doing ranged attacks. That is where you really start taking damage in this game, when so many of those things are stacked atop one another that you simply do not have the ability to address all of them at the same time. That said, there goes down the first champion. For this, the first run... Come on. Hey! Progress, 100%. Playtime, gold collected, cool. We can also see, this is a stat that I often care about, again, because I care about my greed kill streaks as much as I can. Perfect rooms, no damage taken. 8, that's a good stat right there. We can also see all the rest of the stats on here. Obviously, Nemesis Lurkers, damage dealt 45. I took damage to Lurkers at one point? I don't remember that. But I've never restored any health, and I'm on full health. Are they just counted by base as having dealt damage? The game wasn't ready for the hitless run right there, apparently. So here's our Underworld. Blood Emblem acquired. 2 new explorations are available and 12 new blessings are available. And the Underworld is a place between life and death where the dead gods slumber. Use the interaction action near the center steel in the main hall to access the Underworld. There you can offer crystals and jade skulls, crystal skulls and jade rings rather, to the gods to unlock new upgrades. All Underworld upgrades are persistent and will remain after death. So here we can see that we have the ability to start with weapons now, right? Not just the basic weapons that we're already holding, but we could start instead with a claw and a pistol. As we get more options and as we upgrade those here at the Underworld, we will get better and better options. You'll never start with great weapons, but you'll start with different weapon types. Blessings. Blessings the dead. Oh, they're called blessings, not traits. Blessing the dead gods are powerful passive abilities that help you in subsequent explorations. Unlock blessings, then equip 1 in each blessing slot. Return to the Underworld after each exploration to change your blessings. I'm not going to read through each of these. You're free to take the time yourself. I'll tab through all of them if you'd really like to pause on individual screens so that you can read them yourself. But I will point out the ones in particular that I think are going to be super relevant to me. After I get through the cycling of the rest of these. Okay. So for my playstyle, we can see the Reptilian Hunger down here. Your greed counter never runs out when you're out of combat and does not reset between rooms. And your damage also increases by 1% per active greed count up to 50%. I love Reptilian Hunger. I'm going to be looking to upgrade that and get that as soon as possible. Where are we? There we go. Skillful Adaptation. This is the one that used to give you 2 points of greed kill each time you changed weapon, but now it's after defeating an enemy with your main or secondary weapon. Your two-handed weapon deals 50% more damage, and vice versa. So you just deal 50% more damage all the time if you constantly skillfully adapt. I also really like that, and I'll also be looking to get that as quickly as possible. Greed kills restore 1 more stamina is also very, 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 very good, and is also almost certainly going to be my unlock here. Any healing that exceeds max health is turned into gold. I really do like the Gift of Transmutation as well. In fact, I might actually get that early. Let's go for a gold-based situation here. We can also tab across and we can see the Forsaken Weaponry. Restore power to the Forsaken weapons of the temple. Unlocked weapons can be found in the temple in future explorations. So the weapons that we've seen so far are but a small subset of the manageable weapons that we can find. Here, again, I'm not going to go through each of them individually, and also they're more experiential than anything else. You're not really going to be able to tell how good they are just by reading the things on them. I'm just tabbing across them at the moment so they don't all have a this is new little thing above them. And I will also just try and unlock a weapon or 2 that are particularly good. Both of those are just claws and the warmonger. So I'll get 3 relatively cheap weapons. Seems like a good idea. I love claws, as I said during this run, so I'll take the claws of evisceration, critical damage to enemies under 30% health, and then the incandescent claws, which also give us the fire attacks. Evasive knives, automatic dodge during a charge attack. I haven't used the knives much. Those were recently introduced into the game on my last playthrough. So that would be a nice thing to explore a little bit of. But at the same rate, Scorpion Spear. I'm going to get that. It's just a spear that does poison attacks. Is that all of the meta progression that we can show off in the moment? No, weapon altars. Weapon altars in the main hall offer gear before your exploration. Restore altars for more choice of starting weapons. Upgrade them so they may offer higher quality gear. We can restore more altars. The cost increase for these is ridiculous. So it's like 10, 100, 1,000 or something like that. It's a lot. Main weapons. The upgrade for this is altars have a 75% chance of offering common main weapons, and then upgrades further beyond that. Common for the rest, and then altars offer basic 2-handed weapons as the first level. of two-handed weapons. Going to be looking to get that as soon as possible as well. And then finally, Divine Favors. Divine Favors let you refresh the gear offered in weapon and relic shrines. Unlock more Divine Favors to increase the number of times that you can refresh during an exploration. And after each exploration, you regain all of your Divine Favors. So we are yet to be able to do that at all here. Cool. Before I go to the outro and all of that stuff, I'd like to very, very quickly say to those of you who are about to comment, this looks like Hades. It is not at all similar in terms of gameplay. I have played both. They are drastically different in that world, and both of them, in fact, are similar to other games in the genre, or more similar to other games in the genre than they are to each other. I understand the visual aspect. I understand the kind of like it's a roguelike. It's got these kind of shrines from which you select different things, although that's not necessarily super relevant in Hades. Hades obviously has the different orbs for the gods and stuff. I understand it. I see it, and I've seen a lot of people reflect that sentiment. But it's not, though. It's extremely different, and the gameplay could not be more different while still being in the same genre. I hasten to make this point because I don't want the comment section to just be exclusively this looks like a Hades ripoff, because it's not, and they're different. Just be aware of that, please. Sorry about this slightly sour note right there. For the moment, my name is Rhapsody. The name of the game has been Curse of the Dead Gods 1.0. You can find a playlist in the description down below with all of my content on this game, past, present, and future, just in case you would like to watch some of the episodes from the earlier access stuff. The end of the earlier access playlist, the one that has the Eagle Temple update, is the most similar to the current game that we're seeing. So you can see me kind of play at a more similar pace to how I typically would. If you're kind of chomping at the bit to see a little bit more, you can go and do that there. Playlist in the description down below. Also, if you like the video, please click like. It does help get my content out to new people, and it matters a huge amount on the first episode of a new series, especially on the first episode of a new series on the day that game has come out into 1.0. And finally, if you like the content and you'd like to see more of it in the future, there is a really good way to do that. It's called that subscribe button down there. I'm not going to tell you to hit the bell because I release a lot of videos, so that would just, honestly, the bell would just, it would give you too many notifications. It would kind of be harassing you a little bit, so don't worry about that. If you do want to click it, that's fine too, but I'm not going to do the subscribe and ring the bell kind of thing. You'll subscribe and neglect the bell, if you'd like. For the moment, though, my name is Rhapsody. Hopefully you've been enjoying yourselves, and hopefully we'll see you tomorrow.